So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second in a three-part series on the big three defensemen of the Montreal Canadiens. In the previous podcast, we talked a lot about Point Two, Guy Lapointe, and his, kind of comic way off the ice, but all serious on the ice. And a player that was the elder statesman of the big three was Serge the Senator Savard. Now, Serge Savard was the biggest player of his time on the Habs up until Larry Robinson arrived. 6'3", 210 pounds, and he basically was underrated for what he brought to the Habs, what he brought to the NHL, considering a serious leg injury when he hit into a goalpost at the start of his career, almost destroyed his career. He came back to be a very, very strong part of the Montreal Canadiens dynasties of the 60s and 70s. Now, he's currently Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations for the Habs, and he's also a local businessman in Montreal, which nicknamed the Senator, built from there. And in 2007, Savard was named one of the 100 greatest NHL players in history. Now, Savard, who played his minor hockey with the Montreal Junior Canadiens, then with the Omaha Knights, moved to the big club in 1966. Now, in 1969, second full NHL season, he led the Habs to a second consecutive Stanley Cup win, and he became the first defenseman to win the Conn Smythe Trophy as the playoffs MVP. Now, in 17 seasons with the Habs, he played on 8 Stanley Cup teams, besides 68 and 69. He also skated to victories in 71, 73, and from 76 to 79 inclusive. In 79, he won the Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy for his perseverance and dedication to the game. Now, he played his last 2 seasons of his career with the Winnipeg Jets before retiring in '83. Now, he was also the second last player of the original 6 era, which ended in '67, as Wayne Cashman of the Bruins that year advanced in the next round of the playoffs, while Winnipeg did not. So he was the last really original 6 defenseman to play in the league, and that showed his durability. Now, he's well known for something Danny Galvin put on him, and I think it's more than credited to him, something called the Savardian Spinorama. Now, this is a quick moving pivot turn that a lot of young defensemen and actually offensive players use. It was done with the puck in order to evade opponents, and in 1979, the most famous one, he did a spinorama on Rick Middleton and advanced the puck in overtime to the Tremblay line, which led to Yvon Lambert's Game 7 overtime winner against the Boston Bruins. Now, even though Denny Savard also used the spinorama, it wasn't the original Savardian spinorama, although Danny Galvin, who again coined the phrase, would use it quite often for any player, but especially Serge. Now, Savard also played a key role in the 1972 Summit Series win against the Soviet Union. Team Canada went 4-0-1 when Savard was on the starting lineup, and despite the fact he was suffering from slightly nagging injuries, he was brought into the lineup for games 2 and 3 and for the tie in Winnipeg. Now, he actually broke his leg during the series, and he, because of this, had to sit out Canada's losses in games 4 and 5. He returned to the lineup for games 6, 7, and 8, the 3 games they had to win, and Savard was a big part in that. After he retired as a player, he was named the GM of the Canadiens, mostly because of his dedication to player development, and he also served as manager of the minor league Sherbrooke Canadiens. Now, he won the Calder Cup in Sherbrooke in '85, and of course in '86 and '93 he led Montreal to the Stanley Cup championships, which gave him a total of 10 Stanley Cup rings, either as a player or as a GM. Now, in 1994, he was made an officer in the Order of Canada, and in 2004, he was made a Knight of the National Order of Quebec. Now, he very big on the national level. He's the chairman of the annual Canada Day celebrations in Montreal, and he's also had some real estate dealings with Thibault Messier, Savard and Associates in Montreal. Now, on November 18, 2006, the Habs retired his jersey number. One of numerous numbers have been retired for the Habs players, and well deserved. Savard's awards and accomplishments are so deep, but the fact is his senatorial style, no pun intended, going on and off the ice endeared him a lot of people because he talks softly, but he could do it on the ice. Now, we talked a little bit before about Lapointe being an offensive defenseman. Savard was so good at every aspect of his game on defense and offense. He was the quarterback, and we saw what happened in '72 when he got everybody together in that late huddle in Game 8. Him and Esposito, I think, are the two biggest leaders of the 1970s era for the NHL and for Team Canada, because Savard was always doing something on the ice. Now, for Team Canada, of course, he was another skater in that infamous 1976 Canada Cup team with 3 assists in 7 games. Again, I like to see any team that's better than '76, because when you have Lapointe, Robinson, Savard, and Orr on defense, and Potvin, I don't know. Not too many people can beat that. So that alone could say, that's the greatest era, 1970s of hockey ever, because they have those 5 defensemen, just tremendous. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is part 2 of the series. Next one will be on the Big Bird, Larry Robinson. We wish you the best of luck. But just remember, if you meet Serge Savard, you're going to know us a lot, just like John Beliveau. He's a great leader for the Montreal Canadiens faithful. Savard is a gentleman through and through, even though he's made some mistakes as GM for Montreal, including some difficult trades or some difficult decisions. I really think it'll go down in history as Serge Savard was the spiritual successor of Jean Beliveau to the Montreal, corporate and community legacy. And, you can never beat a great Montreal defenseman both on and off the ice, and that's what he is. And it's funny he was never offered senator like Frank Mahovlich, but that's a story for another time. Maybe he turned it down, we don't know. Keep your stick in the ice. Have a good day. Bye.